It all started on a quiet Friday evening, the kind of evening that makes you feel like life is perfectly ordinary, until it isn't. Ryan sat on the worn-out couch in his one-bedroom apartment, scrolling through his phone. His heart was full of routine comfort. He thought he knew everything about Emily. Emily. She was his girlfriend of 3 years, the one who made him laugh when work felt unbearable, the one who remembered his coffee order without asking. He trusted her, completely. He could hear her humming from the kitchen. The sound was so familiar it almost felt like home. Ryan smiled. He had big plans for this evening. He wanted to surprise her with tickets to that jazz show she'd been talking about for weeks. But then his phone buzzed. It was a notification from a messaging app. He didn't recognize the name. Curious, he opened it, expecting spam or some wrong number. What he saw instead made his stomach drop. There was a single message, accidentally left in the thread, that wasn't meant for him. Not directly. It was from Emily. "Can't wait to see you tonight. It'll be our little secret." Ryan blinked. Once. Twice. He scrolled back, hoping it was a mistake. Maybe the message had been old. Maybe it meant something else entirely. But the timestamp said just 10 minutes ago. He leaned back against the couch, heart racing. Thoughts collided. Why hadn't she mentioned this to him? Who was she texting? He felt anger bubble up first. Sharp, hot, blinding anger. And then fear. A cold, sinking fear. Betrayal. Something he had never imagined happening to him. Not with Emily. Not after all this time. The humming stopped. Emily appeared in the doorway, holding 2 mugs of tea. She smiled, expecting him to smile back. "Hey, you look tense. Rough day?" she asked. Ryan forced a nod, his voice catching. "Yeah, just tired." She handed him the mug, her fingers brushing his. Normally, he would have melted in that moment. Normally, he would have believed everything was fine. But tonight, something was broken. He set the mug down, pretending to sip. His mind raced. Should he ask? Should he wait? Every second that passed made the weight heavier. He wanted to scream. He wanted to run. He wanted answers. But more than anything, he wanted the pain to just go away. Emily tilted her head, noticing his silence. "You're acting off. Ryan, what's wrong?" He opened his mouth, but no words came. His heart was in his throat. Finally, he managed, "Nothing. I'm fine." She frowned, but let it go. She poured herself a cup of tea and sat beside him. Silence stretched between them, but it wasn't comfortable. It was loaded, heavy with unspoken truths. Ryan's mind replayed the message over and over. The casual words, the intimacy implied, the secrecy. Every detail burned into his memory. He knew he couldn't ignore it, but confronting her without proof, that could ruin everything. Yet doing nothing was unbearable too. He looked at Emily, at the woman he thought he knew inside and out. The warmth in her eyes, the laughter lines, the familiar gestures, all of it suddenly felt like a lie. He swallowed hard. The evening stretched ahead, but he didn't want to face it. He didn't want to ruin the comfort of the life they had built, but the message was a storm cloud hanging over everything. And then, almost instinctively, he whispered to himself, "How could she do this?" If you're enjoying this story so far, don't forget to like the video and subscribe for more touching tales. The clock ticked on. Ryan wanted to pretend he hadn't seen it, to act normal, but deep down, he knew the normalcy was gone. He didn't notice Emily's eyes watching him, a shadow of worry crossing her face. The first cracks in their world had appeared, and there was no going back. Ryan's hands trembled as he held the mug. And somewhere deep inside, he knew tonight would change everything. He just didn't know how or when. And as Emily leaned back, laughing softly at something on her phone, Ryan realized he was already thinking about her differently. The woman he loved, or thought he loved, might not be who he believed her to be. And that thought was unbearable. Ryan's trust is shattered, and he's left staring at Emily, uncertain of what she's hiding and how it will affect their relationship. Ryan couldn't focus. Every time he looked at Emily, he saw that message flashing in his mind. He tried to act normal, but the tension was unbearable. Emily noticed. She leaned closer, resting her hand on his arm. "Ryan, are you upset with me? Did I do something wrong?" He froze. The words caught in his throat. Could he tell her the truth? Could he even explain the suspicion gnawing at him? He shook his head. "No, it's nothing, really." But she wasn't convinced. "You're lying," she said softly, almost like a whisper. But it hit him like a stone. The night dragged on. They ate dinner in silence, the clinking of cutlery louder than their conversation. Ryan's mind replayed that brief message over and over. Our little secret. He wanted to confront her, demand answers, but he also feared the fallout. 3 years. 3 years of trust, love, plans, dreams, all possibly undone by a single message. After dinner, Emily suggested they watch a movie. Ryan agreed, but he couldn't settle in. Every laugh track, every tender scene felt like a mockery of his confusion. He forced a smile, but it was brittle. Emily leaned on his shoulder at one point. He froze. His heart still ached, torn between love and doubt. He wanted to hold her close and forget the message, but he couldn't. Finally, when the credits rolled, Emily got up. "I'm going to bed. You coming?" Ryan shook his head. "I'll stay up a bit." He needed time to think, to figure out what this meant before everything blew up. Emily hesitated, sensing something off. "Okay, don't stay up too late." As she disappeared into the bedroom, Ryan's hands shook. He grabbed his phone again, staring at the message thread. He scrolled up, down, trying to find any hint, anything that could explain it away. There was nothing. No context, no excuse, just the casual, secretive tone that made his stomach turn. He felt a wave of jealousy, hot and bitter. Not the normal kind that fades in hours. This was a deep, gnawing ache that clawed at his chest. He knew he couldn't ignore it. Not tomorrow, not in a few hours. He had to find out. But the thought of confrontation scared him. What if he was wrong? What if it was innocent? Could he live with himself if he accused her unfairly? Ryan rubbed his face, trying to push the panic down. His phone buzzed again. Another message. This time from a friend asking if he wanted to grab coffee tomorrow. He stared at it blankly. Even ordinary messages felt loaded now. He felt trapped. Trapped in a world where trust didn't exist anymore. Where every word, every smile, every gesture from Emily could be hiding something he didn't understand. He thought about all the moments they had shared. The laughter, the quiet nights, the promises. Could all of that be a lie? Ryan's phone lit up again. He debated checking it. Every notification felt like a threat. He imagined the worst, each scenario darker than the last. Finally, he locked the phone and leaned back. He couldn't think straight. Sleep felt impossible. The room, once comforting, now felt like a cage. Emily's gentle humming drifted from the bedroom. Ryan closed his eyes, but the words of the message were etched into his mind. Our little secret. He knew he had to act soon. He couldn't continue living in this uncertainty. But what if uncovering the truth destroyed everything? His heart ached with the weight of love, doubt, and fear. Somewhere deep inside, Ryan realized that the life he thought he had, the simple, happy life with Emily, was changing, and there was no turning back now. He took a deep breath, trying to steady himself. The decision he made tonight could define everything. And in the quiet of the apartment, Ryan knew one thing for certain. The secret in that message wasn't going away on its own. It was only the beginning. The next morning, Ryan woke up before Emily. The sunlight streamed through the blinds, but he barely noticed it. His mind was consumed with the message, with the what-ifs and the possibilities. He tried to focus on breakfast, but every bite felt tasteless. Emily appeared in the kitchen, her hair messy, wearing his old sweatshirt. She smiled at him, but it felt distant, almost fragile. "Morning," she said, pouring herself some coffee. "Did you sleep okay?" Ryan hesitated. How could he answer honestly? "Yeah, okay," he mumbled. She glanced at him, her brow furrowed. "You're lying again, aren't you?" He looked away, unable to meet her gaze. His heart ached. He wanted to trust her, wanted to believe she was the same woman he fell in love with. But that message, it hung over him like a dark cloud. Emily sighed. "Ryan, if something's wrong, I need you to tell me. I can't fix it if you keep shutting me out." He felt a pang of guilt, but the anger, the betrayal, it made it impossible to speak. Can we just go about today?" he said finally, his voice tight. She hesitated, then nodded slowly. "Okay, we'll go for a walk, clear our heads." They left the apartment and walked along the quiet streets, the air crisp and sharp. Ryan kept his hands stuffed in his pockets, the silence between them heavy. Emily tried to make conversation, pointing out flowers in the park, telling a joke about a coworker. He smiled faintly, but it didn't reach his eyes. Finally, she stopped. "Ryan, I feel like you're miles away. Talk to me." He stopped too, turning to face her. His chest tightened. "Emily, there's something I saw last night, a message, on your phone." Her eyes widened slightly. A flicker of panic or guilt? He couldn't tell. It seemed, I don't know, like you were hiding something, like there was someone else. Emily's face softened, and she reached for his hand. "Ryan, it's not what you think, I swear." He pulled back slightly, confusion and hurt mingling in his chest. "Then explain it, because right now I feel like I don't even know you." "It was complicated. I didn't want you to worry. It wasn't real, not in the way you think." Ryan's heart raced. He wanted to believe her, but trust, once broken, is fragile, and his was hanging by a thread. They walked in silence for a while, the park around them serene and peaceful, a sharp contrast to the storm in Ryan's mind. When they returned to the apartment, Ryan sat down, staring at the couch like it held the answers he needed. Emily stood near the doorway, hesitant. "Ryan, please, I can explain everything. I don't want to lose us over a misunderstanding," she said softly. He looked at her, searching her face. The warmth, the familiarity, the love, they were all there. And yet, that message lingered, our little secret. He took a deep breath. "I want to believe you, I really do, but I need proof, Emily. I need to know that you're really here with me, that this isn't real." Emily's eyes glistened. "I'll do whatever it takes, Ryan, whatever it takes to fix this." He wanted to believe her, but the seed of doubt had taken root, and it was growing fast. Later that night, Ryan couldn't sleep again. He tried to push it away, tried to focus on the happy memories, but the message haunted him. He knew that unless he got answers, the trust they built together could crumble completely. And in that restless, sleepless night, he realized something he hadn't wanted to admit. Sometimes love isn't enough. Sometimes even the strongest hearts have to face the truth. Ryan didn't know what the truth was yet, but he knew one thing for certain: he wasn't going to ignore it any longer. And as he lay there, staring at the ceiling, he made a silent promise. He would find out everything, no matter how painful it was. The woman he loved, or thought he loved, was hiding something, and he would uncover it. The next day, Ryan couldn't focus at work. Every email, every meeting felt distant, unimportant. His mind kept drifting back to Emily, to that message, to the possibility that everything he believed in was a lie. He tried calling a friend, someone he trusted, but the words caught in his throat. How could he explain without sounding paranoid? How could he ask for advice without exposing his pain? By the time he got home, the apartment felt suffocating. Emily was there, humming softly while arranging flowers in a vase. The sight should have comforted him, but it didn't. "Hey," she said, looking up. "You've been quiet all day. Everything okay?" Ryan hesitated. The words he wanted to say felt heavy, dangerous. I need to see your phone," he finally said, almost whispering. Her face fell. "What? Ryan, no." "I can't keep pretending, Emily. I need to know. I need to understand. Please." Emily's eyes glistened, a mixture of hurt and fear. "Ryan, you're crossing a line. Trust is supposed to be the foundation here." "I know," he said, voice trembling, "but my foundation feels like it's crumbling." She hesitated, then handed him her phone. Her hands shook slightly. Ryan's heart raced as he scrolled through the messages. He looked for the thread, the secret message, the proof. And there it was. The rest of the conversation revealed something he hadn't expected. Someone she barely knew outside casual encounters. It wasn't romantic, but it was flirtatious. Too close, too secretive for comfort. Ryan's chest ached. Relief mingled with betrayal. Relief that there was no affair, but betrayal because she had kept him in the dark. "Emily," he whispered, voice barely audible, "why didn't you tell me about this?" She looked away, shame flickering across her face. "I didn't think it mattered. I didn't want to worry you. I thought I could handle it." Ryan shook his head, trying to process it all. "You lied by omission. That's still lying. That's still hiding something from me." She nodded, tears welling. "I know, and I'm so sorry. I see now how wrong I was. I never wanted to hurt you." The room was heavy with silence. Ryan wanted to lash out, to scream, to demand answers. But he also wanted to understand, to forgive, to hold on to what they had. He took a deep breath. "I don't know if I can forgive this immediately, but I want to try. I want us to be honest, completely honest from now on." Emily stepped closer. "I will, Ryan. I promise. No more secrets. Nothing hidden. I'll do whatever it takes to rebuild your trust." For the first time in days, Ryan felt a flicker of hope. But he also knew rebuilding trust would take time, maybe longer than either of them expected. That night, they sat together on the couch, talking for hours, about everything, about fears, insecurities, and mistakes, about the importance of honesty, about how easy it was to take trust for granted. Ryan realized that betrayal isn't always black and white. Sometimes it's gray, and sometimes love isn't perfect. It's messy, fragile, and painful. But maybe, just maybe, it could survive. He held Emily's hand, feeling the warmth, the familiar touch he had missed. He didn't know what the future held or how long the shadow of doubt would linger, but he knew this: they were willing to try. And that was a start. But as he drifted to sleep that night, a quiet unease settled in his chest. He knew the path ahead wouldn't be easy. Trust, once broken, leaves a mark that doesn't fade overnight. And deep down, Ryan wondered, even if Emily's secret was harmless, could he ever stop questioning? The days that followed were tense but quiet. Ryan and Emily had agreed to be fully transparent, to rebuild the trust that had been shaken. They talked about everything: the work messages, the little lies, the fears that had kept them silent. At first, Ryan felt like he was walking on eggshells. Every glance, every word, every small action from Emily seemed loaded. But slowly, he noticed her effort, the openness, the little gestures of reassurance. One evening, they sat on the balcony, watching the city lights flicker in the distance. Emily rested her head on his shoulder, and for a moment, it felt like the storm had passed. "I know I can't erase the doubt," she said softly, "but I want you to see that I'm committed to us, completely." Ryan held her hand tightly. He wanted to believe her. He wanted to trust her fully again. And deep down, he knew that love, real love, wasn't about perfection. It was about trying, even after mistakes. "I want to trust you," he said, voice steady but gentle. "I want us to move forward, but I need time." Emily nodded. "I'll give you all the time you need. I just don't want to lose what we have." Days turned into weeks. The tension didn't vanish overnight, but moments of normalcy returned. They laughed again, argued less, shared quiet evenings without the shadow of suspicion hanging over them. Ryan realized that trust isn't rebuilt with a single conversation. It grows with small actions, repeated daily. And Emily was making those choices, proving that she valued their relationship more than her pride or fear. One afternoon, while Ryan was cooking dinner, Emily peeked into the kitchen with a mischievous smile. "You know, I was nervous you'd still be upset about the messages," she said. He laughed, shaking his head. "I won't lie, I was, but I've realized something important." "And what's that?" "That love isn't about never having doubts. It's about facing them together." Emily smiled, relief and affection in her eyes. "I like that. I want that too." That evening, as they sat down to eat, Ryan felt a calm he hadn't known in days. The message that had shaken him so deeply was still there in his mind, but it no longer had the power to destroy him. He understood now that relationships are never perfect. They're messy, complicated, and sometimes painful. But the effort to stay together, the willingness to communicate, and the courage to forgive, those were what truly mattered. Later that night, as Ryan lay beside Emily, he realized that the storm had changed him. He had learned to be honest about his feelings, to confront fears rather than ignore them, and to see love not as something to be taken for granted, but as something to be nurtured every single day. Emily stirred beside him, smiling in her sleep. He reached out, brushing a stray hair from her face. He felt the warmth of her hand in his, and he finally allowed himself to relax. For the first time in what felt like forever, he believed in them again. Not blindly, not without caution, but with hope. Because sometimes love isn't about never being hurt. It's about choosing to stay, choosing to forgive, and choosing to trust again. And as Ryan closed his eyes, he knew this: no message, no mistake, no fear could take away what they were building together, if they both kept trying. The night was quiet. the city lights twinkling beyond their window, and for the first time in a long time, Ryan felt a sense of peace. He thought about the message one last time, not with anger, not with betrayal, but as a reminder of how fragile trust can be and how strong love must be to survive. And with Emily by his side, he knew they would face whatever came next, together. The past had tested them, the truth had hurt them, but in the end, it had also taught them how to truly be there for each other. And that made all the difference.